like to call to order the meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for Tuesday, June 17th. The first item on our agenda is to adopt the agenda. So I have a few items to add. If you would add to the consent agenda, item 3C8, request permission to hire an employee in the Development Services Street Department. And then to your regular agenda, if you would add item 8F to request permission to accept the bids received and award a bid for the North Lamar Molly Bar Roundabout project. And then at item 8G to consider a request from Century Construction for an overnight concrete pour at the Magnolia Collection at Tyler Avenue and North 14th Street. Is that everything, Ashley?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. That's all I had.
Okay. Could I have a motion to adopt the agenda with those changes?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Quick mayor's report. We have had camp cops for the past few weeks. Our student resource officers during the summer do camps for different age kids each week, and so we've gotten to host them at City Hall, and that's been a lot of fun. We had a film crew in town this past week to film the show Viewpoint by Dennis Quaid. They're doing a feature on Oxford, and that will be coming out in the next few months. The university has hosted Girls State and Boys State this month, and so that's been a huge group, 300 or more girls and boys that are rising seniors in high school from across the state. And I've had the honor of speaking to both of those groups. We've been working hard on the budget. We had Juneteenth. Do you want to give any update?
It was wet.
I know. I was like, I didn't want to be the wet blanket. I was going to let you do it.
But we are having another celebration in the Pocket Park on June 19th from 5 to 7.
June 19th, 5 to 7 in the Pocket Park. Two other things to add to your calendar. Tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Arc, they are going to have a free microchipping event at the facility on McElroy Drive. And on Friday, we will host our inauguration for this board, including one new board member, Alderwoman Aaron Smith, who is here in the audience tonight. And that will be Friday morning at 10 a.m. on the front steps of City Hall. So with that, I will request permission to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on June 3rd.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to approve the accounts for all city departments.
I move we pay the bills.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to declare equipment surplus in the Oxford Fire Department and authorize its disposal.
So moved.
Yeah, let's just vote on that when we vote on the rest of the consent agenda. Woo, consent agenda. Sorry, guys, it's been another Monday.
Motion made to approve the consent agenda.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? I'll call Seth Gaines to come up, and we are going to adopt a retirement resolution for Oxford Park Commission employee Felisa McKnight.
So I had to call her husband because she wouldn't tell anybody that this was going on. So I had to, behind her back, call her husband and say, hey, you know, by the way, we're going to do this for her. Such a special, special person. I'm just going to read it for you with her. Whereas Felisa McKnight began her distinguished service with the Oxford Park Commission on August 7th, 2017, bringing unwavering dedication, visionary leadership, and a deep commitment to enhancing the quality of life for all residents of Oxford through Parks and Recreation. And whereas Felisa has served with excellence in the role of Recreation Director, skillfully developing and overseeing a broad range of programs, events, and initiatives that have united the community, promoted wellness, and provided meaningful and joyful experiences for all individuals of all ages. Whereas her exceptional leadership and professional contributions were recognized at the state level when she was named the 2024 Mississippi Recreation and Parks Association Professional of the Year, a testament to her passion, innovation, and lasting impact in the field of recreation. Whereas Felisa has been a trusted colleague and innovative leader, and a compassionate steward of the community, admired not only for her accomplishments, but also for the kindness, her energy, and integrity she consistently demonstrated throughout her tenure. And whereas after nearly 8 years of outstanding service, Felisa McKnight is retiring from her role, leaving behind a legacy of excellence, community engagement, and positive transformation that will continue to benefit the Oxford Park Commission for years to come. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Oxford Park Commission, with sincere appreciation and deep gratitude, hereby honors Felisa McKnight on the occasion of her retirement and celebrates her extraordinary contributions to the city of Oxford. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution may be spread upon the official minutes of the city of Oxford, and a copy be presented to Felisa McKnight on this day of June 17th, 2025, by the city of Oxford and Oxford Park Commission, with our best wishes for a retirement filled with happiness, good health, and well-deserved rest.
The floor is yours.
I don't think I need much time. He knows I'm not a talker at all, but I'm looking forward to retirement. I'm gonna miss all of the kids. Probably half of the kids belong to somebody in here, and especially my special needs groups that I work with. It really has been a joy and a pleasure to work for the city. I'm gonna take this time and travel a little bit, but
Good
then
for
I'll be at home.
Good for you. Well, Felisa, we appreciate so much the years that you have dedicated to the Park Commission and to kids with special needs that have come through all of the different programs. You have such a gift, and we thank you. Could I have a motion to accept that retirement resolution?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Now I'm going to ask you to adopt a resolution
Motion to
honoring Alderman Ward 1, Rick Addy, for his service to the community. Whereas Richard Lamar Addy was sworn into office on February 28, 2016 to serve the city of Oxford as Alderman of Ward 1, will retire after 9 years of outstanding service to our citizens. And whereas Richard Lamar Addy, fondly known as Rick to citizens and staff, moved to Oxford at the age of 12, where through many years of service instilled himself as a long-standing and exemplary Oxonian. And whereas within the community, Rick Addy established himself as a man of integrity and a successful business owner and talented photographer, preserving the likeness of thousands of Oxonians throughout the years through beautiful portraits. And whereas before starting his long-standing public service career as alderman, Rick Addy served the public part-time as a reserve police officer beginning in 1988. And whereas Alderman Rick Addy served faithfully under the leadership of Mayor George G. Pat Patterson and Mayor Robin Tannehill, alongside 10 different aldermen and many city staff in his steadfast career. And whereas under his leadership, the city of Oxford experienced tremendous capital growth, constructing the Ulysses Coach Howell Activity Center, the downtown parking garage, the city pool, fire station number 2, the Oxford Police Station, the East Jackson Streetscape, the Morgan Family Park, the City Hall Pocket Park, and many other improvements. And whereas more recently as alderman, Rick Addy was appointed by his peers to serve as board liaison to Visit Oxford and to the Oxford Reserve and Trust Committee. And whereas through his attention to detail, dedication to his constituency, and relentless work ethic, Rick Addy was a guiding hand in the planning and development of rapid growth within Ward 1. And whereas Alderman Rick Addy worked hard to preserve Oxford's rich history and tradition, advancing Oxford while not sacrificing its uniqueness. And whereas Rick Addy, through his keen eye and observation, will be remembered as a public leader who made Oxford a better place to live, work, and visit. And whereas Rick Addy has made an indelible mark on the city of Oxford through his devotedness and love for Oxford and for all its citizens, has positively touched many lives, and that his legacy will be remembered and celebrated for many years to come. Therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Oxford express their sincere appreciation and gratitude to Richard Lamar Addy for his unmatched career and service to the community, Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of the city of Oxford and that a copy of the same be presented to Richard Lamar, Ricky Bobby. The floor is yours.
I don't do speeches. Thank y'all. Thank you to a great staff, great alderman. Y'all got great leaders. Thank you, Aaron, for taking the spot. Thank you, John, for being here. Thank y'all.
Thank you. We are going to miss you sitting in that seat.
Oh, you're just missing the problems.
That's,
I create.
oh, well, there's that. No, we are, and Rick, thank you for your attention to detail, for your friendship, for your leadership. Will be greatly missed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Could I have a motion to adopt that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
All right. Oh, sorry.
Now, Dr. Antonow, if you would like to come up and give us an update from the Affordable Housing Commission? Donna's going to give it? Okay, great. Welcome.
So the Affordable Housing Commission has worked very hard this year on trying to resolve some of our issues that we have within the city and the county. We've had 4 goals that we worked on this year. The first one was the trust fund. The second was ordinance incentives. The third was outreach engagement and property. So at this time, I'm going to invite each one of the chair on those committees to come and give a brief update on what they did on their topic. And the first one is the trust fund, which is Duncan Gray.
Hello, hello. How we doing?
Here.
Good. Appreciate y'all having us here. Give you a quick little update. If you remember last summer, we came and we asked kind of for a match moving forward into this upcoming year, starting with, I think, the October 1 fiscal year. Is that correct? And then shortly after that, in this spring, we kind of re-engaged in some conversations. I think y'all probably saw the article that Alyssa did in the Oxford Eagle in this spring. And it sort of got us going again, thinking about, is there a way to align what we're doing with some of the other community endeavors that are going on in the community right now, so that we're not necessarily duplicating everything. One of the things that I say all the time is we don't lack the resources in our community to do incredible things. We lack the alignment of the resources, So we are right now sort of having conversations to say, okay, how does this model potentially fit with some other partners in the community that want to work in this space? And I think probably within the next couple of months, we'll probably have another update about what that could potentially look like. So stay tuned.
We will, and we
All right.
appreciate your hard work on
Yep.
that.
Thank
Duncan.
y'all.
Thank you.
Any questions? I'm sorry. No? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
The second is Dr. Antonow on the ordinance incentives.
Before I get into affordable housing, Rick, I have to tell you, it was an honor to serve with you for 4 years and to sit in that chair right next to you on the board. And all the things that the mayor read off, I was thinking while she was reading them off, and we made it through a pandemic too.
Yeah.
Amen.
Okay, affordable housing. I have chaired the Affordable Housing Incentive Subcommittee. The members of my committee are Marilyn Barnes, Josh Sissel, Tisha Sanders, and Brooke Worthy. What we are doing with the Incentives Committee is looking for ways that new and revised incentives could facilitate the increase in the supply of affordable housing. We also have been looking at and researching any housing-related trends that might be an impediment to increasing the stock of affordable housing. This past year, we were really fortunate to make what we think is some progress. We have looked at Mississippi Code 273550. This statute allows tax abatements for affordable housing by basing the appraised value on the property's net operating income, which is different from the way it's done generally. This right now applies to Section 8 and Section 42 housing. And when we were looking at this statute, we saw in there that in addition to those two, it mentioned other programs, other similar programs that promote affordable housing. So we thought, okay, the City of Oxford ordinance does that. So I contacted Rocky, when Rocky was Sylvia back then, and she referred me to the county tax appraiser. And I told him what we were looking at and asked him if he thought that the city's ordinance would fit the bill. And he said, it absolutely would not. Well, you know, we disagreed with him. Me and people a lot smarter than me disagreed with him. So we decided what we needed to do was get an attorney general's opinion. So Paul Watkins, our city attorney, and David O'Donnell drafted a request for an opinion, sent it off, and in February, we received a response. And the response was that partial abatement is possible for housing projects meeting the requirements of the City of Oxford Affordable Housing Ordinance. So that means that it can be done here in Oxford and in Lafayette County. So we're really pleased. We think that that is a big incentive for developers to be able to get a partial tax abatement. Now, you know, when you're talking about tax abatement, the other side of it is tax revenue. And we're going to get you some real numbers, but looking at it initially, we think that for the county, the city, and the school districts, if this goes through and we have some affordable housing developments projects come forward, which right now I don't think anybody's going to be knocking down the doors, but as this information gets out and people start to come forward, we think that the change in revenue for these entities is going to be really minimal. Probably won't even notice it. So, but we'll get you some real figures. We've got somebody working on that. Our next step, though, is to come up with a program with procedures and eligibility and those types of things in order to implement this. We're going to first meet with the supervisors, the two school superintendents, and I've already communicated with Rocky Kennedy, our county tax assessor, and assured him that we are going to include him, of course, in the development of this program and get his advice along the way. And he seemed to be good with it and enthusiastic about it, so I was glad about that. So that was one good thing that came out of this year's work. You know, as we've been working, the price of housing, the price of houses has gone up, rents have gone up, and every day it's more of a challenge. All right, the other statute that we looked at is Mississippi Code 377471. This was a surprise. We didn't know it existed. Again, our city attorney, Paul, has been so helpful, and he found this. This statute allows public schools, and only public schools, to sell or lease property for projects that involve community improvement which includes affordable housing. They can sell or lease property without meeting any of the state requirements for selling or leasing. They don't have to do it at market value. They don't have to get all the bids and all that. And, you know, I mean, that's great. But we asked Nicole Boyd if she would look at that statute and amend it to add municipalities and counties to that, so that those two groups would also be able to do that. We shared this information with the Oxford City School Board. Brooke Worthy and I met with the president and one of the members. They were not aware of this. They were happy to have that information in case they were interested in doing or had the land to do housing for their teachers and staff. Right, and they were especially happy because they think that they're going to have a lot of retirements of teachers soon, and they're having a difficult time recruiting teachers and staff because of the unavailability of suitable housing. It's the same story we hear all over Oxford. So those are two major things that my subcommittee was able to accomplish. We're continuing to look too at short-term rentals. And short-term rentals, we're only talking about homes, condos, or apartments that are used exclusively for short-term rentals. We're not talking about the house where everybody goes to stay with grandma and they rent their house out for a football weekend. That's not really, that doesn't do anything that's detrimental to the housing market. But the short-term rentals, we were about to just drop the subject when we got the report from Bob Barber with Orion Planning, who did the update of the Vision 2037. And his data shows that the housing market takes a substantial hit because of the short-term rentals. You have a copy of that. That's part of the report that you received. And if you don't read anything else, just read his highlights and conclusions at the end, where he talks about the short-term rentals. So we're going to continue to look at that. We know there's a need for them on those heavy weekends, and we just don't know what we're going to do, if anything. So that's the conclusion of my report. I would be glad to answer any questions that you all have.
I don't have any questions, but I very much appreciate the work that you've done on it. I wasn't aware of either of those Mississippi codes, so I'm excited to think there is some potential to make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, the codes are there. We just needed to, find out what we can do with them.
Sounds good.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
support.
Janice.
And thank you
Absolutely.
to the planning staff, who was wonderful. Ben and Robert and Judy have really supported our commission and helped a lot.
Great.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Dr. Laura Martin will give her report on the community outreach program.
Good afternoon. My name is Laura Martin, and I'm reporting on behalf of the Community Engagement Subcommittee. For those of you who don't know me, in my professional capacity, I serve as Associate Director of the Grisham McLean Institute for Public Service and Community Engagement. I also direct the M-Partner Initiative, and we are currently partnering with the City of Oxford. So I'm grateful to all of you for the opportunity to collaborate with you in that capacity, and then also through my position on the Housing Commission. The Community Engagement Subcommittee was created really to amplify the voices of people that are experiencing housing insecurity in hopes that those perspectives could inform the work of the commission. And you've heard about some of the other subcommittees and the work that they're undertaking. A number of nonprofit organizations that are not otherwise represented on the commission have been extremely active on the Community Engagement Subcommittee. Those include Doors of Hope, Communicare Project Thrive, Mississippi Care, as well as student organizations from the University of Mississippi. And so we're really grateful that all of those voices have been participating in the community engagement work. Last summer, I'm going to share a couple of our highlights that are in the report. Last summer, we had a journalism student named Mary Evans write a press release about the work of the commission. We also had an M-Partner intern named Hayden Pierce who created a slide deck that we can use for outreach and promotional purposes. And then more recently, we had an honors student named Emily Harris update the Housing Resource Guide, which is posted on the Affordable Housing Commission website. And she was actually able to add 2 new transitional housing resources as well as a new resource for homeowners that we hadn't been aware of when we'd created the original guide. Also this year in January, we worked with the public library to hold an event called LOU Project Connect. We had over 60 people attend this event, and it was really designed to elevate resources for folks experiencing food security and housing insecurity. This event took place with a homeless point in time count that Communicare Project Thrive leads, and it's been very difficult to get an accurate count of people experiencing homelessness who meet that HUD definition, and we were able to count some individuals in hopes that we can pull down more resources for Oxford and Lafayette County. In the spring, we had a lunch and learn for realtors, property managers, and landlords, and we were able to talk about the work of the commission. Dr. Antoneau spoke, Ben Raquette spoke, Regarner Thompson spoke about her work with Love Abounds LOU, as well as Mary B's Homes, and then most recently, Alonzo Hilliard and other members of the Community Engagement Subcommittee hosted another lunch and learn for property owners talking about development opportunities, and Josh McGlon spoke at that. He's a new member of the commission, as well as David Walker, who does development around the Memphis area and in North Mississippi. So Dr. Antoneau has talked about the updated housing inventory. What really spoke to me about some of those numbers is, as Dr. Antoneau mentioned, the continuing urgency around this issue, particularly for those community members that are at or below 120% of the household median income. And so that is something that we continue to hear on the Community Engagement Subcommittee. And then I wanted to appreciate Alonzo Hilliard and Marilyn Barnes, who's here tonight, for taking leadership of the Community Engagement Subcommittee, which then permits me to lead the commission alongside Josh Sissel as the co-chair. So we really appreciate y'all for investing in this work, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
I don't have any questions, but I thank you for
Absolutely.
all that you're doing for us with the partnership and this commission.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Finally, we will hear from Brookworthy on property.
Hi there.
Hello.
I'm Brookworthy, and we, because of, and I think in response to Laura's subcommittee, created the new subcommittee called the Oxford Affordable Housing Commission Property Subcommittee. Myself, Stuart Rutledge, and Alonzo Hilliard serve on that. And it truly was in response to, once they educate, once we start getting the word out about what is affordable housing, it is not just one thing. There are different kinds of affordable housing. There are tax abatements. There are things that you can do with your land to get tax credits. Once we can get that education out, our hope is, and our mission, is that we, this subcommittee, will act as a central repository to store properties suggested by the people, solicit individuals as well as private and public entities to suggest or maybe donate property for these purposes, and then vet any of these proposed properties. Look at taxes. We recognize every property will have a different situation. We've only met one time. We're still trying to get the word out about education, but many of us are fired up and ready to start making some dents in the affordable housing world of Oxford, Mississippi. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Brooke.
Any questions?
So moving forward, the committee will be focusing on growing and marketing the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, implementing the tax incentives for affordable housing development, expanding community outreach and engagement, and identifying and securing suitable properties for affordable housing. So we thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you very much, all of you. Thanks for being here tonight. Just realized I lost this name on my, got a new agenda right before I walked in. And, okay. Approve an appointment to the tree board. Jason Bailey nominated Josh White to serve on the tree board. I have a motion to approve that appointment.
So moved.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. I want to announce that we have a vacancy on the Planning Commission and a vacancy on the Oxford Park Commission Board. Anyone who is interested in serving in any of those roles can email cityhall@oxfordms.net with a letter of interest, and we would be so excited to hear from you. Seth, if you want to come back up for the presentation of the quarterly report from the Park Commission.
Yes, ma'am. So I'll just go over a couple highlights. I had to go back and refresh myself on some of this. With as busy as this current quarter is in, kind of lost track of what all we really did do back in the first quarter. But a couple of the highlights I want to bring up is a couple of the new programs I remember telling y'all that we started. We offer two seasons of every team sport and stuff now. So this past year in spring youth volleyball, second year in it, had 115 participants. That's up 16% this year over last year. And then youth flag football, we started the spring season, and this year we had 250 participants in it, which is up 25% over last year at the same time. So what we might be seeing overall is the numbers may be going down in the primary seasons a little bit, but by the time we add both seasons together, all of our numbers are up on the course of the year. One of the newest programs I was proud of, even though it's not a large program, was an independent contractor program with fundamental sideline cheer. It's an independent contractor program, had 13 participants in it, but that offers girls who want to come in and do cheer all year long. Like, we have programs for that. Not that they couldn't, they can already cheer at both of our basketball seasons and both of our flag football seasons, but now we're doing year-round if they want that. Wrestling, y'all know the Greek wrestling, high school wrestling's into it. We get a benefit of that as well. So the local group here brought in 57 wrestlers, or whatever, this past spring. Kind of getting down in the marketing, we have 10,781 contacts through our newsletter, and newsletter we use is really, really interesting. I can tell who opens every newsletter we send. I can see how much time they spent with that newsletter, and if they just send it straight to the trash. So it's interesting for me to kind of note that. And that's it. I mean, I'm glad to go over anything that was in the report specifically.
It's a great report. Thank you.
But just some quick highlights.
Yep. Thank you. Anybody have any questions? All
So you're
right.
tracking people now?
Huh?
So you're tracking people now?
At the pool, yes. Our square season, our square that we are using at the pool, we are tracking. We are, it's teaching everybody that, everybody that comes in, whether they're coming in for free or whether they're coming in paid, making sure that they do hit the tab to note how many people's coming in. So we may not be perfect, but we're going to be able to get a better number at the end of this year.
Good deal.
Thanks, Ed.
All right, Donna, if you want to come back up, request permission to approve and authorize the mayor to sign the 25-26 certifications and assurances for the Oxford University Transit Grant.
This is for the grant that begins in October. The city attorney, Paul Watkins, has looked at it and gave his blessing and signed, and so we're requesting permission for the mayor to sign so we can send it back to MDOT as well.
Motion made to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Donna. Request permission to approve a contract for the purchase of notification software for the court department. Nikki's here if you'll have questions or.
So all of you know that I have been working really hard to modernize our court as much as possible, and I've been looking for something to help us send communication mostly to the officers for subpoenas for court, but also for payment reminders, payment plans, court cancellations, Paul's probation people. So I finally found something. This software does all of this and more. It is a sole source. It is in over 7,000 government and court locations across the U.S., 17 states, I believe. We'll be the first court in Mississippi to ever look at it. So we're getting a huge discount if we do this. We just want 1 year, give it a try. Since we are going with our new court software, this will integrate with it if we choose to do that.
And this would be something that would come out of her ADC money, which is specifically for court equipment and software.
Any questions?
Have a motion?
So moved.
Second. All in
Thank y'all.
favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Nikki. Shane, request permission to approve and authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency to make updates to the District 2 Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan. Pretty straightforward.
Yes, ma'am, it is. Every 5 years, FEMA requires this. There is a 25% cost share. I reached out to MEMA this morning, another district. We'll have enough in our current budget to cover the 25% cost share once it's divided amongst all the counties.
Motion made to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Request permission to accept the official recapitulation report for the 2025 municipal general election as presented by the Lafayette County Circuit Clerk and Lafayette County Election Commission.
Yes.
Ashley?
This is the adoption of the official results from the election. So moved.
I don't know if any of y'all can vote. Your name's in it, so I think it would wait for me.
Exactly, that's right. Everyone recuses but Rick. Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to approve a resolution appointing Preston Taylor as our MML voting delegate for the annual conference.
Motion made to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank
years
you,
have you been doing
Preston,
this?
for being our delegate for life.
20-something years. Okay.
Delegate for life, guys.
Can't that motion just be like the next 20 years?
Right, exactly, to infinity. Request permission to approve a parade assembly permit for the city to host an inauguration ceremony on Friday, June 20th, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. More like 10 a.m. to 10:15 a.m.
Motion made to approve.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to approve a parade assembly permit for the city to host a fireworks show on Friday, July 4th, from 9 until 10.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to approve a parade assembly permit for Visit Oxford to host a 4th of July parade on Friday, July 4th, 9 to 11 a.m.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to approve a parade assembly permit for the Oxford Skateboarding Association to host an event on June 21st from 11:50 a.m., strange, to 1 p.m.,
Motion made to.
as opposed to noon.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thanks, DC.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good work on your way out. Good work on your way out, sir. Request approval of a preliminary and final plat for case 3232 Capstone Development LLC for Lamar Phase 5 for property located at 305 Baldwin Drive, PPIN 5067. Hello, sir.
Afternoon. This case concerns property consisting of just over 5 acres in the Lamar Traditional Neighborhood Development. The applicant is requesting a single lot subdivision inclusive of the 2 existing 3-story multifamily buildings located on the property. Proposed lot complies with the dimensional requirements of TND. At the Planning Commission's June 9 meeting, the Commission unanimously recommended approval with the conditions listed in the staff report. Staff recommends approval of the requested preliminary and final plat for the Lamar Phase 5 with the 3 conditions listed in your memo. Happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Motion made to approve with conditions.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? You killed it. Consider change order number 1 with JP Corp Contractors for new hardware, fire alarms, data network cables, and general services at the new development services building. Mark?
So we have several small items that we're lumping together to do a larger change order. In the memo, I listed out the several things we had. Some of these items we budgeted for, but they just weren't in the contract, so we knew they were coming. The total is a little more than $49,000. It does add 6 days to the project. We're still expecting to be finished by July 7th, so we're just asking for approval. And I'm happy to answer any questions about any of these items. One of the big items was we're doing new network. We're having to run all new cabling for Cat 6 for all the offices, so that was a big chunk of the change order, which we knew was coming.
May I have a question or a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. That was
Thanks.
really weak.
I was gonna say,
Under
nobody's very
eyes.
enthusiastic.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, guys. Request approval for an emergency sewer repair. No. I mean, what did I say? No. Lafayette County Road 413, adjacent to Franklin Farm subdivision.
Yeah, so our major sewer trunk line, which is 36 inches in diameter, runs along Bernie Branch down to the sewage treatment plant. It was built in 1974. We're starting to experience problems. We've already done one emergency repair back in the winter, if you recall. This was one that we discovered as it was almost ready to wash out Fudgetown Road and take out a northeast power pole. So we didn't really have time to get quotes and wait for contractors to show up. So we went ahead and hired a contractor to patch that up to protect the road and get the power pole relocated. So the cost is about $15,000 to do that. So we're asking for an emergency declaration from the board to cover that.
Motion made to approve.
A second by Mark. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request permission to approve change order number 7 for the State Road 7 Water Improvement Project, Phase 2B. Mark, John?
Yeah, so this project is almost finished, so I promise no more change orders. But we had one service line under Highway 328 that serves a property down there that we have to enlarge the bore casing under the highway that MDOT requires. So this change order is for $6,100 to cover that increase in size.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request permission to re-advertise for bids for the Haley Well Number 2 project.
Yes, this project, which is an Army Corps 592 project to put 2 new wells on South 16th Street. We bid it back in 2023. Bids came in double what we had budgeted. So we've gone back, requested some more money, and we want to rebid that project with a higher budget and get it going because we really need the new wells.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Consider a request from Seeker Properties LLC to close the sidewalk on North 11th Street due to the construction of the Zachary.
Yeah, corner of Jefferson and North 11th, the vacant lot. They're about to start construction there. The building will be constructed all the way up to a current sidewalk, but they'll be building a new sidewalk. But it will require the closure of that section of sidewalk along North 11th for that block. They're going to put signs up, pedestrian detour upstream and downstream to get pedestrian traffic around North Lamar and back. But they're wanting to start that probably next week.
Is there a way can they get through the floral parking lot? Is there a sidewalk?
Most people do go through the fort. There's not a sidewalk there per se, but most people do already walk through there. But we'll sign it as a detour when they come down to Adams to go around to North Lamar and come around that way.
Motion made.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Consider a resolution supporting the application of the 2025 Safe Streets for All implementation grant for the city of Oxford for West Jackson Avenue.
Yeah, so
take all the help we can get.
All the help we can get. So this is a planning and implementation grant. The deadline is next Thursday. Neil Schaefer is helping us put together that application, and this is just a resolution that has to accompany that, where the board basically approves the application.
And the application will be to synchronize all of the lights. Jackson Avenue lights.
Yeah, it's planning implementation to synchronize all the traffic lights, make pedestrian improvements along the West Jackson Avenue corridor.
They now have AI that does all that, so we need it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We had 2 additions. Request permission to accept the bids received and award a bid for the North Lamar Molly Bar Roundabout project.
Yeah, the low bid came in this time, $500,000 lower than our previous bid at 2.6 roughly. So we recommend awarding this bid so they can get started.
What was our budget on that?
$4 million is what we had budgeted.
Second. All right. All in favor? Any opposed? Consider a request from Century Construction for an overnight concrete pour at the Magnolia Collection at Tyler Avenue and North 14th.
Down at the bottom of the hill, next week, they want to do an overnight pour for the first slab. The reason they want to do it overnight, because they have to set 2 pump trucks, one on each side, because one pump truck will not reach all the way over. And they're going to have to utilize Nuke's parking lot, and we don't want to interrupt anybody's business or traffic. So they want to start at midnight and work to about 6:30 a.m. so they're not bugging anybody. This is next Thursday, midnight, the 26th, by the way.
Do we need a rain day? Do we need a rain day or an alternate day? Not that we've had any rain lately.
It wouldn't be a bad idea, but I would hate to propose something without consulting with them on that. But it's not a bad idea. if we want to give them a 2-day window.
Can we do it at your, can we approve it with his discretion if we get a rain?
Sure.
That's my motion.
Okay.
All right, that's the motion. Is there a second? Second, all in favor? Any opposed? I will ask the